Yes, it is episode 94 of the Will Just Agree
To disagree.
podcast. I'm Beyonce Fox.
And I am Ryan Lee.
With a very squeaky voice today, but it's all good.
We're pushing through, man.
Yeah, we're pushing through. We're pushing through. And we're pushing through because we are so delighted to have joining us today. And I've interviewed you 1,000 times, Jonathan McReynolds, Grammy Award-winning artist. You won every award on planet
Literally.
Earth because you're so amazing. Welcome to the podcast.
What up?
Thank you. What's going on, y'all? It's an honor to be here.
What's going on? Jonathan, you have a new album. It's coming out Friday. It is called
Coming out. Yeah.
My Truth. Tell us about it. Tell us about the name, My Truth.
Man, you know what? I've been, Beyonce just said that I've been doing this and have had 1,000 interviews with her. And so much of my life has been like facing the public. And, as soon as God gives me something, I got to give it away. Mm-hmm. This album is cementing a journey, a spot in my journey right now that's really just about establishing my truth for me. Like, where you at, John? Before you tell everybody else, before we decide what part of you is brandable, marketable, which part of you is the church gonna accept, which part of you is the world gonna be interested in, what's your truth? Where do you start from? And so it's been really important. I know a lot of times when people say, this is my truth, they really mean that this is what they about to post. It's normally like a very make a statement to the world type thing. But this time, this is really making a statement to me. Who are you? Where do you stand? What have you seen? I think especially when we, us Christians and stuff, we really feel like we got to tell everybody about Jesus, and we should, because he's amazing. But more importantly, we have to live on it ourselves. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now in my life.
So, but Jonathan, you answered it, but you kind of really didn't answer. What is your truth?
My truth is God is real. God is my father. I'm on my best day and on my worst day, I'm a son of God. I've seen a lot of incredible things. I've seen things that would provide great evidence for God's existence. I believe in him. And it gets a little more muddy as you get into the more specific, rather, as you get into the album. Even when I'm just talking about my own strength and how fragile and how weak my strength is and how I've needed other, it's a lot of stuff, but ultimately that's the basis of it, is that one of the first songs that you probably heard from me was No Gray. There is gray, though. I got older and realized, no, there absolutely is gray. There just isn't a lot of peace there. Mm-hmm. And so, it's that type of truth thing that I'm doing in this album, just making sure that I know for myself what I'm doing out here.
Yeah, that's a strong title, My Truth. That's a real strong title. And I'm sure that there's a theme throughout the album with that title, correct?
Yeah, it's my experience, the stuff I've witnessed, the stuff I've felt. Skip what mama said, skip how grandma found God. This is me. And so, at some point, I had to graduate from being a grandkid of God to being just a child of God, And so, that's where I'm at.
Jonathan, yesterday I was telling Beyonce, I put you honestly top 10, like, when it comes to writing. Your writing skill is crazy. And that's why I'm excited to listen to this album. Where do you go to get inspiration? Because I follow you on Instagram and I know while you were on the Kingdom tour, you did a lot of this album while on the tour bus, which for me, I feel like I would have to be secluded somewhere away from everything, not doing work. Meanwhile, you're getting off stage, getting in the bus, producing a whole album. Where do you go mentally when you go to write?
You don't have to go anywhere, because wherever you are is good enough. You know what I'm saying? That's a thing. Maybe people feel like they have to get their songs in like solitude or I need to pray and cry and be in some real thick prayer. No, for me, at all times there's a message, there's an experience, there's a thought, there's a conversation, there's a prayer in any one of these moments. Maybe that's why when you listen to my album, you're gonna hear a lot of different genres or different styles, different takes on things. You have Make Room, which is hard worship on this side, but then you have, a Cycles, which is, I wasn't in a great place when I was writing that, you know what I'm saying? So every place is orchestrated, to me, is orchestrated by God for a reason, the good and the bad and the ugly. And as an artist, it's my job to capture the beauty or even the ugliness of every moment and see if God wants to get the glory out of that for the public or for something private.
What goes into the process when you write a new album? Do you just say, okay, this next one's going to be called My Truth, and then after I get the title, then I'm going to come up with the songs, and then I'm going to find people who are going to collaborate with me on some of the songs? What's the process for you?
No, for me, it's all random. It starts off very random. It starts off with whatever is happening in my head at that moment.
Yeah.
And as you start to get into it, maybe 6, 7 songs in, you realize, okay, there's a little bit of a theme here. Because again, if you journaled every day, you would see a theme over a course of a few months. You'd be like, you know what? In this season, I was constantly blah, 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 blah. And so, when you write the way I do, I don't write in every season. Some songs, there might be some outlier songs, but in general, probably 80% of the record is written kind of in one, period of time. And so just like with anybody, there's a theme to your life at that particular time. Maybe this theme was grieving. Maybe this theme was joyful. Maybe this theme was finding truth. And for me, this theme was, you know what? I've lived this for a while. And let me look back and see what God has done. If there is a God, if he's real, if he cares about me, has there been evidence in my life to see it? And so, the songs were coming out that way. And even when I actually wrote the title track, My Truth, I was like, man, even though that's not like the single, that you're not going to hear that on the radio ever. Still, that song, maybe not ever, but I mean, somebody might play it. But and it's really one of my favorite songs, definitely my mom's favorite song. But it was definitely a song that kind of it made sense that everything I was almost, the word true or truth is almost in every song. Yeah. And so, it was like, okay, I get it. Same thing that happened with Make Room, everything. It was just like it all comes together. And that's when I really thank God for making sense of it all. Those are those God moments that I'm like, okay, I think I've arrived at something because it's starting to make sense.
This is what I like about your music, Jonathan, is that it's not so churchy. And I feel like in this generation, we need that. And I think you speak to this generation. I think you've been doing it, and now the generations are catching up with what you're making. A lot of times, I think why people or Make Room or Cycles work is because we all can relate, and it's very transparent, your truth, but it's also people can stand in like, hey, that's my truth too. And Cycles, I probably do keep doing things over again in that cycle, stuff like that. Talk about how you always stayed being transparent and not feeling like you have to be fit in this box of that church lane as a gospel artist.
I mean, I just wasn't able to do it. Like, I mean, ultimately, I decided not to rebel against my own likes and dislikes in music. I grew up, I listened to, of course, I played the organ at a Church of God in Christ Church, but I also would go on road trips with my aunt and white uncle, and we listened to country on the way down. I still grew up in the VH1, MTV era, boy bands, all that. You know what I'm saying? So all of that went into who I was musically. And luckily for me, I wasn't that concerned with making music for a particular genre or format or anything when I first started. I literally was just writing music. I was in college downtown in Columbia. I didn't really have any like goals for the music. I was just making music. So luckily that music was what put out. So the fact that No Gray is such a blessing that was the first song that, that people started to hear, because that automatically allowed me to do what I wanted to do, as opposed to if I started with Long as I got King Jesus, I had to stay there. But I'm enjoying kind of using all of me musically in this stuff. I guess I was just one of the lucky ones that started off different, and so people now just expect me to be different.
Yeah, trendsetter though. Like, I gotta say, in this gospel industry, man, my first job in radio was at a gospel station, and we had a variety. We had the Longs I got King Jesus, and we had the praise and worship, the contemporary, the Mary Marys, the Kirk Franklins of the world.
Yep.
But you, my brother, you took that thing to a whole nother level. It's like you are definitely one of the trendsetters in gospel music. Your praise and worship, your whole style, the acoustic guitar, the whole
it's
vibe.
A different sound.
Man, is it? Yeah. It sees like no boundaries. Like anybody can listen to it, whether you live on the North Shore or whether you're on the South Side of Chicago. It works, and I just love it. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's my honor, and shout out to Whitney Young, shout out to Columbia, shout out to all these places where there was a big melting pot of people. So maybe by the time I actually wanted to start making music, it came out the way it does. And so what's really been dope is that as I've done this for about a decade, all those people that I loved and all those people whose music I was listening to extra heavy and probably pattern my music after, they all are fans, or they're all friends. And so that's the best part. From India to Common to Music Soul Child to Gary LaVox out of Rascal Flatts, and that's some country stuff. Like all of them, Stevie, all of it just means so much that they can hear themselves in my music as well. And that's probably been the most rewarding part of this whole thing is knowing that those people who I patterned my whole, I guess I didn't pattern it after them, but I know that they were strong influences. It means a whole lot to me. I mean, the next best thing would be for Sam Cooke to somehow come back from the dead and say, "Hey man, I like your music as well." That would have been dope, but
not gonna happen. Not gonna happen.
Man, I don't know about that.
And it probably would be scary actually if he did.
Yeah, it would be.
Jonathan, before we get out of here, you have hosted on TV. We've seen you on The Stellars. We've seen you on Sunday Best. You have done movies now. You've done acting, and of course, you do the music. What is something that Jonathan McReynolds has not done yet that you would want to do?
Skydive.
Oh, you can do that anytime.
I did not expect that answer, Jonathan. Same question, new answer. What?
I don't know, man. What about? I mean, there's a lot of things I plan on doing. Definitely gonna get more into some different business outlets and stuff like that. Just being an entrepreneur, creating more moments where I'm not the product. But outside of that, man, I'm really excited, man. I'm working on a book and everything, and I got a few other things I'm not gonna say yet.
Ain't nobody listening. You sure you don't want to tell us what it is?
I mean, we got enough to talk about this week. We got an album. We got
a new album. My truth.
Everything. I mean, it got other stuff.
Let you slide. Beyonce.
Y'all like, well, what's after that? Can I do this for Thursday?
That's how we are. That's how our people are. You got a whole new album. Meanwhile, I'm like, so what's next?
Right. What's after that? Okay, all right. But yeah, no, I have a lot of things I want to do. At any given moment, there's always 6 things that I'm somewhere in the process of doing, from vision to execution. So I always know there's a lot of stuff. I'm trying my best to take every day now, kind of just day by day, smell the roses a little bit, because that has not been my strong suit. My strong suit has been just like you. Okay, what's next? I haven't even come out yet. But
I get it.
So I'm trying to chill, but just trust me, there's always 5 million things I want to do, especially this being my last record of kind of my original contract. I get a really good chance to reevaluate, step back, and see what I want to do next.
You go.
Most definitely.
There you go. And the tour that was announced, and we were just looking at some of the locations of the tour, and I didn't quite see Chicago on the list.
I mean, you got to understand this whole thing is fluid. Okay, so
Okay.
under normal circumstances, we probably would not announce the tour before the album,
Right.
even though everything's going on sale Friday. So tickets and the album all on Friday. But the reason why is because, some venues were like, we want to start announcing now. They were just too antsy. They were like, "Ooh, I want to hurry up." So there are going to be some dates added. Don't trip.
Okay, that's okay.
She was mad before we did this.
Absolutely tripping.
So I'll find whatever city to come see you. Okay, it's all good.
Yeah. So not only is there going to be more dates added to this first run, there's going to be a second run as well. And so just know Chicago's always going. We always going to do Chicago.
I always got to show love.
Even if y'all don't want me to do Chicago, I'm still going to do Chicago.
No. You got to come back home.
You got to come home. You got to come home. Yeah. And you know what? This album is so good. I was listening to it. Of course, you recently did a performance here at the iHeart Performance Studios, and we were just wowed away by your voice, one of the most unique voices I've ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
And I was at the salon the other day sitting under the dryer, because you got to sit under the dryer for about 5 hours. And so I listened to your album a few times. And when I tell you, Jonathan, there's just something about He's Able. Bruh. And I'm just gonna put it right there. I'm gonna put the Beyonce Fox stamp on that one.
Can I stop you though?
Bro,
we've been debating about this.
Okay.
You have one coming out with Chandler.
Okay.
For myself.
Yeah.
I bet that song gonna repeat since last week.
Well, y'all gonna fight. So one of y'all is church and one of y'all is worship. One of y'all is praise and the other one's worship. That's what I hear. That's what I'm hearing.
No, but I'm saying that He's Able speaks to me, and I'm sure it speaks to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Brother, you did that one.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all.
That's what's up. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's I'm really excited about the album because I know there's gonna be something for everybody. From Smooth all the way to Able, all the way back to For Myself, and all the way up to Detail. So I'm really excited about it, and I pray y'all go out and listen to the record, love it. My Truth is coming out February 17th.
Yes.
There it is, man. Jonathan, thank you for coming to talk to us. We always got to show you love right here in the city. Make sure you guys get that album Friday, My Truth.
Yep.
And when he comes to Chicago on tour, make sure you guys are in the building for that.
Definitely. Much love to you, bro. Keep doing what you're doing. You're amazing, and you're inspiring not only me and Ryan, but people from all around the world. You are a global sensation.
Yeah.
So God bless you. Continue to, shine for him.
Receive the flowers, man. Receive
I receive it. Thank you. I'm sorry. I did. Thank you.
See, I saw where you were going.
I love y'all. Thank you.
Love you
of course,
too,
man.
babe.
Appreciate
Congrats.
it. Yeah, congrats.
Yay.